Hello. Can you hear me, everyone? Waiting for that precious lag time. Yes, thank you, Anna. Okay, sound is on. Woo! Hi, everyone. Hi, Melanie. Hi, Tara. Alma, Mel. So excited to see everyone chiming in of where they're tuning in from. You can hear me. You can hear me. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I'm going to wait a couple more minutes, just until 1:05 to let people come in. I see people still coming in right now, and we'll experiment with sharing screen during that time. Okay. What about this? It tells me I'm sharing my screen. So hopefully you can see my little slide presentation. Let me know. Let me know. Yes, we see it. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Sam from Sam. Screen is shared. Beautiful. Okay, we're just going to wait a couple more minutes, letting people come in. Yes, we got it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so as you can see, and as you could tell from the description and title of this entire presentation, we're going to be talking about externalized energies and what that actually means today, and how to build a scalable business that turns you on. So this is definitely going to be more of a focus for people who have established businesses versus someone who is just thinking about starting a business, or they've just started a business and they don't have any clients yet. And we'll go into that in the actual presentation. So just to give a little bit of context there. Okay. Okay, you guys ready? Okay, let's get started. 1:05. I'm on Maui, so some of you guys are experiencing the evening right now, and I'm like, cup of coffee in, middle of my day. Okay, and I'm going to keep your little chat window open so that I can see if anything. Okay, people are raring to go. Let's do this, you guys. So, externalized energies, how to build a scalable business that turns you on. So I need to do this. Okay, so the subtitle that I've come up with since announcing this workshop, it has changed. I think I came up with a much better subtitle, so I had to share it with you guys now. And that is to go from overworked to the successful lazy bitch everyone is talking about. Alma, yes, I can share the PDF afterwards inside of Mighty Network. So I love the idea of some people potentially being triggered by the idea of being called a lazy bitch. And as a woman from the Midwest, where there's a whole virtue around working and hard work, this is really big. And this is something that I just love tapping into. And I think it's really important as business owners and CEOs of our own business to actually be willing to be that successful lazy bitch. So Jill says I'm frozen. So tell me if anyone else is, I am frozen as well, or if it is just Jill. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the 3 phases of business, the 5 externalized energies, the soul of your business, and the opportunity of the visionary CEO. And just to tell you a little bit about myself, my name is Sam Garcia. You've probably seen me in Wealth. Good, not frozen. I'm good. Thank you for everyone chiming in to tell me I'm not frozen. So I am the owner of Dirty Alchemy Digital Marketing. We cheekily say the agency as woo as you. That is thedirtyalchemy.com. I've been running Carolyn Elliott's marketing since April 2019. So it's been almost 2 years now, which is so fun. I am host of the podcast Business as a Magical Practice and creatrix and guide of the Alchemical Business Intensive. And also on the side, I am the farmer's wife of regenerative agriculture expert living our systems on Maui. So it's a little bit about me. I'm also an introvert and an implementer who works 99.99% of the time alone. One-on-one or online in small groups. So please excuse my mania today, presenting to hundreds of highly sensitive people. And it was actually hilarious last week when I was doing a tech hand-holding session in the Thrill group last week. And like people messaging me afterwards being like, I felt like you were angry about something or frustrated. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are so tuned in. So you're definitely going to feel like a little bit of anxiousness from me. But I promise this is going to be a juicy presentation, and thank you. I'm really grateful for you all being here and having this opportunity to talk to you today. So first of all, let's start with a poll. What stage are you at in your business journey? And I know there's a bit of a lag time between us, so it's going to be a minute or two before I get some numbers. So put in what number you're at. So number 1 is I don't have a business yet. Number 2 is I'm a freelance service provider. Number 3 is I started my business, but I don't have enough clients or sales to cover expenses. So you're not at that like sufficiency level yet. Number 4 is my business is at sufficiency, but I want to get more clients, money, all the things. Number 5 is I'm an established business and killing it. Number 6 is my business is rapidly growing and I need to hire, organize, and keep up with it all. Okay, so we have numbers pouring in. I'm seeing 3, which is just started, 2, lots of 2s, some 1s, between 2 and 3, lots of 3s, some 1s, some 4s, nice, 2s and 3s, 4s, 3.5, love it. I like that you guys are like rounding between them. 4, 4.5, 4.5, 7 used to be killing it, and it crashed. Interesting, Christina. I would love to hear about how and why it crashed. 2/5, nice. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay, so we're a big range here today, and I love that. And I'm gonna try and touch on everything for everyone, and people who are just getting started. This is all of this will be applicable for you as you grow, and stuff to keep in mind as you grow. But definitely in the 2, 5, 4, 3.5 range, this is really, really going to be applicable stuff. Okay, love it. Okay, so a little note before we get started is please put your questions in the ask a question box, and we'll get to it at the end, just so that I don't have to be staring at the chat too much, because it'll totally distract me. So I'm gonna be going back and forth between the chat and not the chat. And so let's put all of our questions into the ask a question box, and at the end we can decide which questions to go through with that little poll feature. So thank you. So let us start with the 3 phases of business. This is obviously a grand generalization, but I really feel like simplifying this down is helpful. So first of all, we have our startup phase on that left side. And the startup phase is what you would expect of it. It is when you're just getting started in business, you're just establishing it. It's a lot of hustling, a lot of grinding, a lot of hope and excitement, and there's so much potential, but there's also, you don't really have proof of concept. So there's also a lot of dread and doom and fear, and what is it like, what if nothing works, what if nothing goes wrong? So that's our startup phase, and as we're getting started in business. The next is the owner reliant phase. So the owner reliant phase is when you own your business and you're working in your business and you can't leave for a month, let alone a week, maybe even a day, without things falling apart, or fires not being able to be put out, or clients freaking out that they're not getting what they need. So you have a business that's completely reliant on you, your time, your energy, your presence. So that's the second phase of business. And then the third phase of business is the owner independent business. And I'm just remembering I have these as like big old circles. So I'm going to go to my owner independent business. So owner independent business is you own a business. Your name is on those articles of incorporation, but your business is running and functioning whether or not you are there. Okay? Like, we usually think of this as the big CEOs in their towers, or not even the CEOs, because they're in the business. Someone who owns a business and they're just like off in Costa Rica doing whatever, while a business they're completely detached from is over here. It's highly uncommon for small businesses to be in this owner independent phase versus the owner reliant phase right here. I would probably say 99% of small businesses that are established are in that owner reliant phase. And maybe, just maybe, you're thinking, but I love my business. It is like my life's work. It is my sole purpose. I don't want to sell it. I don't want to stop working at it. Why would I care if it was independent of me? Right? I mean, most of us who are spiritual entrepreneurs or in the magical space, like we're creating businesses not only to make money, to support ourselves. We're also, there's usually some like purpose or why behind it that's really fueling us and juicing us up. But my argument really here today is you actually want to be always from the beginning striving towards creating an owner independent business. So, and it is actually a disservice to your business and to your mission if you build a business that is dependent on you. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the chat to make sure. Okay, good. Love it. I'm not frozen. So one of the reasons for that is your priorities will change over time. You might want to have a baby and take maternity leave or paternity leave. You might have a new business venture that really is lighting you up that you want to explore. You might want to spend more time with your family or start a family or get a husband, get a wife, like focus on dating, focus on your health. Maybe you have a unexpected health scare. God, goddess, Jupiter forbid. You might just want to take a year off to travel. You might have passion projects. You might want to funnel a ton of money into philanthropy and be giving money away and starting funds. Like, there are so many things that can change over time that if your business is reliant on you, you are not going to be able to give your full force and full attention to these things. So the next reason is when your business does not need you to make money, and money is flowing into your life as profits from your business, you will only show up from inspiration, from service, from creative spark, from passion, instead of needing to be there, obligation, responsibility. Like, you can tell, like, the person that you show up in your business when you don't need to be there is a completely different person, okay? So, and I got a quote from Carolyn on this topic before coming here today, just because you guys love Carolyn. Come on, we're all here. So when you set up a business, your business as a self-supporting entity separate from you, it means that your business can give you strength instead of you giving all your strength to your business. And we'll be talking a little bit about your business as a separate entity in a little bit. But it's like instead of you giving all of yourself to your business, you're actually creating something that is self-sufficient. Okay. So another analogy here, is the one that I really like to talk about, is when you're in the startup phase of your business, it is an infant, right? It is a baby. It needs you. Obviously, you are giving it your money, you're giving it your time, you're giving it your energy, you're giving it your love. Like, it needs you. It needs these things from you just to grow up, right? So then it grows up to a teenage phase. Maybe it is healthy, but an owner-reliant business past the point that it needs to be is like the adult child living in your business, a business that is dependent on you and that you've built it that way, instead of realizing that it can be a separate entity from you. So like that's why like the owner independent business over here is like, you have a functional grown adult child out of the nest, totally thriving in life. Or like if we want to get a little Oedipal here, you can think of your business as a sexy lover that you can actually be in communion with. And like that is so much better than adult child living in your business. And on that note, some memes for all of us every single day. I wish my adult son would move out of my basement. Versus, are your pants a compressed file? Because I'd love to unzip them. Sorry, I love memes, you guys. Checking in the chat to make sure I am not frozen. Lol, that's such a good analogy. Awesome. I have one of those, LOL. I really love all of this. Okay, thank you. Love that. Gonna keep going then. Okay, so as magical business owners, we tend to focus on increasing our personal power, right? This is only a small fraction of the picture and the power that we have access to. So our personal power, like we're doing our shadow work, we're doing our solve and coagula work, and we're building up our personal power within ourselves. And we know the power of these practices. And we know that the power that we can really step into as we do all of these things. But as business owners, it's only a small fraction of the power that we have access to, because your business is a separate entity from you. Okay, so this, like some of this is super obvious, but most people actually don't think of it when they love their business. A lot of people, when you're your brand, when you're your business, when the mission of your business is just like on fire in your heart, we think of us as our business. But that's a disservice to your business and disservice to your mission. You need to start thinking about your business as a separate entity from you. You see that in the fact that your business has a separate federal ID number than you. You have your social security number, your business has its EIN number. And with this, your business can be a powerful ally. Like if any astrologers are in the room right now, like they've probably run the natal chart of their business based on the articles of incorporation or when they got their EIN number back. Like it has a separate soul from you. It's a completely separate entity from you, and you can actually be in communion with it, pull strength from it, allow it to be this bigger, much bigger thing than just you alone. So that's our lead up into externalized energies, which is building the power of your business. So the 5 ones we're going to really focus on today. I'm sure there's more, but these are really 5 big sections that we can look at today. And those are money, reputation, intellectual property, team, and systems. So starting off with money. So money is this, okay, and I guess I should give a little bit more. For the externalized energies, you want to actually think of like, these 5 categories here are ways in which your business as the separate entity can actually house energy outside of you. So instead of you just like your business drawing energy from you, drawing money from you, as you start building up these externalized energies, it gets to a sufficiency point where it supports itself. And then it gets to an overflow point where you can draw these things from it. So, and checking over the chat. Okay, I see questions coming in the chat. Please put those in the ask a question box so I can answer them at the end. Okay, money. So your business's money is not your money. When you're in the startup phase, of course, that's going to be the case because you're just trying to make enough money in your business to cover your bills and cover your business's bills. But once you get to a point of sufficiency, once you get to the point where you're making more money in your business than covers everything, and like even before then, you need to start thinking of your business's money is not your money. The money that comes into your business is not just the same as coming into your bank account. Your business brings in money. It pays you a salary because you work for the business, pays off its expenses, and then you get the overflow, which is what profit is, right? So full revenue comes in, expenses are taken out, and after the expenses and your salary, the profit, that's your money. That overflow, that's your money. So things for this, like practical things you can start doing now with this is, I mean, like just the concept of alone of like realizing that your business has separate money than you, is setting up separate bank accounts for your business. Having your personal bank account is separate from your business. Separate credit cards for your business if you're a credit card user. Building up the credit of your business separate than you. It's also building up an emergency fund for your business, an actual savings account within your business. Because I mean, the general wisdom is to have 6 to 12 months of operating expenses saved for your business at one time. I can't even imagine how few businesses do this. Like we just look at the pandemic in the last year, how many businesses had to close down because they did not follow the very conservative recommended advice of having 6 to 12 months of business expenses saved up. And again, this is separate from your personal emergency fund, which you should also have set up. Okay, so that is one externalized energy, because then suddenly the money within your business, you can reinvest it in your business. You can buy things. You can expand your team. You can pay for branding, pay for ads, pay for all of these things, and it's not your money; it's your business's money. So, moving on. Reputation. So your business has a name of its own. Okay. It has an identity of its own. Okay, and just because I know that some people are going to ask, like, what if I'm a personal brand? Yes, of course. Like, if your name is Susie Lee and your business is Susie Lee Incorporated, like, okay, it's still a separate business as you. And the programs that you create, that's really where this comes in. And the example here being people talking about existential kink without knowing Carolyn's name. Existential kink and that bit of intellectual property, which we'll get to in a bit, that is building up the reputation of the business separate from the individual, which is Carolyn. So your business has a network of its own. That's the following, that's the audience. Your business has a face, the website, and your business has its own vibe, which is branding. And all of these things are building up the energy within the business. And I mean, of course, like I've had a friend this last year who lost her dad, and she, like, her huge focus over the last few months has been like, how can I build my business so that my kids will still be thriving and it's going to live on forever, even if I die, because death is really like up front and center for her. And like, these are all of the ways that we can be building these legacies, these things that will continue on beyond us. And a great example is Nike. So as we see the Nikes in the picture, for anyone who's read Shoe Dog, which is an amazing book, we don't know who started Nike. Like I mean, maybe 1% of people who know of 0.1% of the people who know Nike know who owns Nike or the owners of Nike. But it's such a common brand name that everyone knows about. So that, like, it has built up its own reputation as a business outside of itself. And going back to check the chat to make sure that I'm not frozen. Okay, good. No one is saying that I'm frozen. Excellent. Okay, so just like I talked about a second ago, intellectual property. So your business houses your intellectual property. I mean, there's legal value in this of like having something separate than yourself. This is like your books, your blog, your podcast, your courses, like all of these things are housed within your business. And this feeds in back to the reputation element of this, where it is building up, where things about your business, its identity is known whether or not your name is connected to it. Okay, and then your team. So this is my favorite one personally. So having a team, having people that you employ within your business literally magnifies time, and it gives you your time back, okay? I mean, it's obvious. Like if you're hiring people to do stuff for you, so you don't have to do it because maybe you're not that good at it, or you just hate doing it, or like you just don't have the time for it anymore, then you're getting time back, and it can actually magnify the time of your business. So if we're thinking about, I know that some of you are freelance service providers, so it's a little different because you are in one way or another trading a service, which usually is connected to time, with for money. Okay, there we go. I can finish this sentence. That's a little different. But like if we think of like the course model, where if you're building an online program or an online membership like Wealth, a highly scalable thing, suddenly the money that comes in that you're paying a group of 1 to 10 to however many people that are helping you provide that value, like you don't actually have to be there. You have a team of people there to do it for you. So your business has a team running it, managing it, fulfilling its duties. That is housed within your business as the externalized energy. And finally, systems. So some examples of this is your business has a grimoire of procedures so that it's never dependent on one person. So standard operating procedures for anyone who's made those, like it's such a powerful thing for someone to do for their business before they're ready. But there's a lot, like there's such a lag time in what you're seeing it as the benefit of it. So standard operating procedures are pretty much just like how to do all the things in your business. So suddenly, as a solopreneur, as a startup in your business, you're answering all the emails. You're creating all the social media posts. You're building the website. You're doing all these tasks, or like you're putting the blogs on the website. You're doing all these tasks that are repeatable, and eventually you delegate those out to people. And hopefully, in the process of delegation, you're capturing that as written how-tos, which is essentially what standard operating procedures. And you're doing that in a way that you're not dependent on this one person in this one job. Because I see this time and time again where you hire someone and you love them and they're amazing and you become completely dependent on them to do this one role in your business. And then they leave your business for another opportunity, for health crisis, for all of the reasons we listed before. And it's devastating. It's so devastating because they haven't created this grimoire of procedures, the standard operating procedures that suddenly someone else can come in and fill that role. So with systems, your business can work on autopilot, and we try to use technology to automate as much as possible. Obviously, with your brilliance, when you're starting out in your business, there are some things only you can do. But I would probably say 95% of your business can be delegated, or whether it's to a person or to technology. And suddenly, by creating these systems through operating procedures, by building out the technology, you don't have to be there. So, and then the beneficial side of this is your business can iterate, so it becomes more efficient. Because once you start creating a system for repeatable tasks, again, whether it's through a person or through technology, through automations, it can become more efficient. And what efficiency means is profit. So I talk about this a lot, that I like one of the main things we do within our marketing agency is run online launches for clients. And I always talk about how much I love relaunching things. So what that pretty much means is you have a course, you have a program, you have a membership, you have whatever, and you create it, you launch it once, and then you continue launching it. Whether it's months or years down the line, you've done it once, so suddenly you can do it again. You have all of this intellectual property that's housed in this launch that you've done again. You can look at it. You can be like, well, this thing didn't work, and that thing I think I could do better, and let's add on these new sexy fun elements to the launch. But you've already done it once, and it suddenly becomes so much easier. It's like the same with once you build email templates for customer service people to send out. So they're just like, it takes them 2 seconds to send that email versus 2 minutes to write it out. Like with efficiency comes more profit. And that's like my favorite part of this systems thing. Okay. And so I mentioned this at the beginning, but warning, don't focus on building externalized energies if you're just getting started in business. it is such a fun distraction. Like everyone I know, like when I first started in business, I'm seeing it a lot with people who are just getting started in business as more and more people want to start their own businesses. They want to focus on building a website instead of booking their first client. They want to think about hiring someone to do something for them instead of focusing on getting clients. They want to play around with branding or like get their colors just right instead of making their first sale. So if you're not at the sufficiency point, all of that stuff really doesn't matter. So if you're in the startup phase, like you should really be focusing on your shadow work, getting comfortable selling, because being a salesperson, getting like not feeling icky about selling what you do is like number one thing in my opinion. Comfortable with being seen. Consistency. Like if you could just write something every single day and put it out publicly on the internet, like it will be such value because you're going to get reactions from people. You're going to build an audience. You're going to do all of these things, doing the mindset work. And of course, believing in yourself and your offer, such a key piece. Working, like developing your copywriting skills, such a key piece. Like all of these things right here, those would be the focuses before you get to that sufficiency point of I can cover my expenses and I can cover my business's expenses. Up until that point, like all the branding, all the marketing hacks, like all that stuff doesn't matter. Like, and I think I have I'm almost to my example. I'm gonna scoot ahead for an example of this, which is Carolyn Elliott. So she got to multiple six figures in annual revenue without a team. She just had one VA. She built her own website. She built her own sales pages. She built all of the things. And she got to that point, which like multiple six figures for majority of people is significantly more than enough to get by on, right? Significant amount of overflow. So when we started working with her, it was because she was pregnant and dreading launching again. And then she was at the point where if she didn't launch, she wouldn't make any money. So this was an example of a very magical owner-reliant business. I would argue now that she's leaning way more towards owner-independent business than owner-reliant business because we've set up all of these systems in place. She does have a significant support team really there. But like hers was such a good example of because she was able to get to this state of overflow without anything in place. But then she got to a point of not wanting to do anything again and not wanting to have those systems in place. She wouldn't make money. She wouldn't make any money unless she showed up in her business. So we have a poll. So what do you already have in place? And I know there's a lag time between the chat and when I say things. So do you already have some financial externalized energies in place? Or put a 2 in the chat for reputation, or a 3 in the chat for intellectual property, 4 for team, 5 for systems, 6 for my personal power. Okay, so now I'm just gonna wait for you guys to respond in the chat. Okay, and in the meantime, I'm gonna brag about the praises coming in. Thank you, Francesca says, this is such a helpful presentation. Thank you. I feel like you're demystifying so much. Thank you. This resonates with me. And we have numbers coming in. So Jill has 2, 3, and 6. So that is reputation, intellectual property, and team. Awesome. Melanie is 2, 6, which is reputation and my personal power. Love it. And we have Mark Antoine is 1, 2, 3, 5. Oh yeah, killing it. 2 and 6, reputation, personal power, reputation, personal power. I mean, if you guys are in wealth, I'm assuming you guys will all put a 6 in here, right? You're all building up your personal power through wealth. Okay, we have Lacey at 3, intellectual property, 2, 3, 5, 6. 6 kind of 2, building 3, awesome. 2, 3, 6, 1, 2, 6, money, reputation, personal power, 6, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Okay, so I'm seeing very little 4s. So not many people have started building a team yet. It's my favorite thing. It's actually like a huge part of my drive and mission to employ people. It's a huge thing for me and a huge motivator for me to make enough money to pay people to do really badass work. 635123. When you say money, how much do you mean? Well, I'm super generalizing here, Oceana, of money is like, okay, maybe you have your separate bank accounts for your business and your money, you actually consider your business's money as separate than your own. That's like the basic. But I mean, like building up an emergency fund, that would be like 1+. Okay, so next is, I have one more poll for you guys. And what are you lacking, or what do you need to amplify in terms of externalized energy? So A being money, B being reputation. This is the same, but we're using letters instead of numbers. C, intellectual property. D, team. E, systems. F, I need to focus. So I'll just look at some of the comments before. Okay, actually, letters are coming in. Perfect. We have A and D. So Kathleen wants to amplify her money and her team. Corrine, ACE, money, intellectual property, team. CFD, intellectual property, team, and system. Oh my gosh, you guys are going so fast. I'm seeing a lot of A's, a lot of money. So I'm wondering if that means if you guys have fallen into the trap of thinking your business's money is your own, or if you're just saying that you just want more money, which, I mean, we all do as business owners. Plus Z. Okay, curious what Z is. A, E, C, and D. Okay, awesome. I love you guys. You guys are so fun. Thank you for playing with my poll. This is really fun to read through. Okay, so we went through that. That we can really dive into, and we out of time, so I don't think we're going to do this meditation. But what I want for all of the people, I think for all of us, unless you've done this before, or for people who are just starting out in business, is do this now. Your business has its own soul, and the sooner that you accept this, the sooner that you can actually tap into the energy of this and use it for deep wisdom. Okay, so really, really like tuning into this, like creating a container where you can introduce yourself to your business and its soul as a separate entity and actually commune with it, actually have a relationship with it. So I don't think we're going to have time for the Soul of Business guided meditation, but I do have on my podcast, Business is a Magical Practice, episode 24, is I go through a full-on guided meditation of connecting with the soul of your business. So you guys and you can do it again and again if you want to use it as a communion exercise with the soul of your business. And a lot of chats are going, okay, yes. Okay, so if you are trying to create this larger entity that is an empire beyond just you, and I know empire can be a trigger word, but we're moving on, then you need to start communicating with it, okay? You can actually ask it what it needs and wants. You can ask it what direction it wants to go in. And you can ask it what its vision is for the future. So you actually want your business to have a say in the future of it, especially as we're building these owner-independent businesses. So moving on to the opportunity of the visionary CEO. So the US self-help market is predicted to be worth over 13.9. How fun is that? I work in the self-help space, which I feel like spirituality and occult fits into the self-help space, even though we don't want to admit it. So this is great news, right? And moving on from that, the global personal development market size was valued at $38.2 billion US dollars in 2019, and is expected to grow to $56.7 billion US dollars by 2027. This is huge growth. This is like billions with B's. And imagine how this forecast may be affected by a global pandemic. I know in my clients and what I'm seeing in the self-help, in the spirituality, in the occult industry is more and more people are waking up. More and more people need this. more than ever. So I think these are gonna be low forecasts. We'll see. We'll see what happens by 2022 and 2027. But there's so much opportunity for us right now in the self-help, personal development, spirituality, occult, whatever space. So the Harvard Business Review did a study where they found that there are two kinds of CEOs. There are manager CEOs and visionary CEOs. They did a huge study on all of these companies and looked at their CEOs and how they actually spent their time. They classified them into manager CEOs and visionary CEOs. The CEO managers spend most of their time managing projects, delegating, and working on the nitty-gritty details of their business. So they're they're the head of the business, they're the CEO of the business, but their hands are in all of the pots. The CEO visionaries, this other main group of CEOs, coming up with innovative ideas. They're creating the vision and inspiring those supporting them to make it happen. So you can see those are like two very different archetypes. So guess whose teams were more productive? And there's a lag time, so I'm not going to wait for the chat. The visionaries. The visionary CEOs had more productive teams. And guess who had bigger profits? Visionaries or CEOs or managers? The CEO visionaries had bigger profit margins than the CEO managers, than the CEOs that would micromanage their team. So to wrap this in a lovely little bow, there are two sides to this picture of building a scalable business that turns you on. You have to build the foundational things that makes you. So building your business is externalized energies, but you, as the business owner, you have to pair that as stepping into the role of visionary CEO. I mean, there's like so much spiritual fodder in there of things to work on with being able to let go of overworking yourself, letting go of being in control of everything, letting go of, or like stepping into the trust that other people will support you, that your team will support you, right? Like, oh, there's so much work in that. So these are two things that as you're building the scalable business need to be happening at the same time. And they're both necessary things in building that owner independent business. So together you have a scalable business that turns you on. So another client example of this from this last year is, so this business got to multiple six figures in annual with a 10-person team and fairly small profit margins, but they were at like, I think they're at like 600,000 to 800,000 in annual revenue for the last like 3 or 4 years. They hadn't like never hitting that 7-figure mark, which is like such like a, I'm a 7-figure business. Like, oh my gosh, like it's a external mark that a lot of people are excited to get through. So COVID hit last year, surprise, like, did you know? And the CEO, she had to step away from the business to homeschool her kids. Like a lot of us. I don't have kids, so not us, but a lot of people. And then last year, the business hit 7 figures before the end of the year, even though she was spending half the time in her business than she was before. This is not a coincidence. To that, I forced into only being able to show up in her business in her zone of genius, only being able to show up in her business as her like highest self, and forced into trusting that her support team would support her, letting go of control. Like that is not a coincidence. She was forced into that visionary CEO role and out of the CEO manager role, and they hit that 7-figure goal. So owner independent business for the win. So that's the end of the presentation, y'all. I know there are a ton of questions, so I'm going to let's take a 3-minute chat break and go and submit your question to ask a question if you haven't yet. And everyone go vote on what the top questions are in that ask a question box, because we can vote in there. So We have until 10 before the hour, so 1:50 p.m. my time. And it's weird being on a meeting where no one else is talking. Once I stop talking, it's just like silence over here. Build my business while homeschooling. Hell yeah, Oceana. Tons of creative idealists here. Yes, yes, yes. We're all visionaries. Oh, thank you guys for linking to my podcast. That's super helpful. Yes, yes, yes. I just want more money. Yes, Roberta. I also want to be 30 years younger. Excellent, Oceana. Can you go back to the slide on the two foundations, visionary CEO and the other one? Okay. I think you're talking about, where am I? This slide. So it's like, this is the personal work we need to be doing. You stepping into the role of visionary role that you can step into in your business. And you also, at the same time, building these externalized energies, which is the core of what we talked about today. So building up the money in your business, building up your team, your systems, your intellectual property, your reputation. Okay, so I'm going to head on over to look at, I'm going to stop sharing so I can see this ask a question thing right here. And I see 10 questions. Oh, I'm shocked. I'm shocked there are only 10 questions, you guys. Okay, top question with 18 votes. I'd like to emulate Carolyn Elliott's strategy. Can you tell us the best practices she implemented to get to loan? Thanks. I recommend joining Thrill. She kind of goes into it in Thrill. Focus. So to get to six figures alone, I have found the easiest. Okay, I'm going to step away from my personal opinion because I have personal opinions, but you're asking specifically about Carolyn Elliott's strategy. So she worked as a coach, as a one-on-one coach, billing however much. Okay, it's weird looking at my face, you guys. Let me make this bigger so I don't see my face. Excellent. Okay, she worked as a coach, and so she got to a certain level. I don't know like the different markers of what she actually, I don't know if she started doing courses before she got to six figures alone. I know if you're in the coaching space, it is so easy to get to a six-figure business on just doing one-on-one coaching alone. She was adding in courses. But that's a question for her, I think. I know more about after her multiple six-figure mark because that's when I joined her team. So then she launched her first course. I think she told me in her first course launch, she got 80 signups for whatever online course she was doing. So that's how you build these scalable things, is making it so things are less dependent on your time, or one-on-one work, whether that's services or coaching or whatever. Adding in things that are scalable, like courses, really help, but they're not necessary to getting to six figures. I know people who got to multiple six figures on just doing services alone. And best practices she implemented: focus on email marketing. I could yell this from the rooftop. Everyone is so like, right. There's Facebook, maybe it was TikTok somewhere in there, and like maybe Snapchat somewhere in there. Email marketing is a tried and true. Every single year people say email marketing is dead. Every single year the stats come back that is wrong. To this day, Carolyn invests multiple five figures in or multiple five figures in ad spend to get more people onto her email list every single month, because she's so committed to email marketing. And so I'd love to, I know that some people hate email and like, they're like, oh my gosh, I hate getting emails. I hate sending emails, but it's a really tried and true business strategy that will help you from the beginning out into seven figures and beyond. Is really getting, if you could just focus on email marketing, and whatever social media platform is just icing on top to get people onto your email list. So that is, she's shared in Wealth before, like build a taboo persona. I think that's in the solid coagulate toolkit. That's like lesson 1 in Wealth, is building a taboo persona. So that kind of helps on the personal side of things, of like dealing with visibility issues and all of the shadow around being seen and being successful, and being hated and people talking bad about you. So go check out the taboo persona. I'm sure you can just Google it or search it in Mighty Network and it will pop up. But then other than that, email marketing, that's the thing. I'm sorry. Everyone hates that because it's like not a sexy strategy, but get people onto your email list using lead magnets or free opt-in freebies and nurture that audience. Okay, what are some concrete reputation building practices that you would recommend for those of us building our business? How do we make sure the face of our business is seen? Consistency. Consistency. Decide on a platform that you want to show up on and show up on it consistently. Choose whether that means every single day, choose whether that means once a week, like whatever the things are, like consistency, because marketing is just, reputation building is just human to human. A lot of people are like, oh, it's business to customer or business to business, but it's always human to human. And if we can build relationships, build trustworthy relationships, encourage our audience to trust us, like that is the key to good reputation. Let me know if there's a follow-up with that. So, I mean, just an example, okay, I'm going to commit to email marketing because like, this is what Carolyn Elliott does. This is what Sam is recommending to do. And I'm going to send an email to my email list, even though there's only 10 people on it or 100 people are on it or only 1,000 people are on it. I'm going to send an email to them every single week, period. Even when I don't feel like it, I'm going to start putting on my big boy or girl or person or unicorn pants and show up. That's how you build consistency and trust. And then if you can add that second layer of a social media platform you're choosing to be consistent on, and show up there. Decide on a schedule that feels good to you and actually do it. Okay, as we're looking at seeing a business as a separate entity, would it be a wise idea to do the ritual we did in one of the recent months of creating/infusing something with the spirit that we created? So I think you can absolutely do that if you want to like infuse it, but you're not creating a spirit with your business. Your business is already a spirit. Some people believe that like there are spirits you to come in for you to birth into the world as a business, but like that spirit already exists. The soul of your business already exists. So you're not creating that. It's already there. It's a separate, powerful, wise entity that you are an ally of. Okay. But yes, you can do the other part of the ritual where you're infusing something with that spirit. I have several businesses that all fit together and a big vision for them to all operate together, but I'm not there yet. Should I make them all separate businesses or make one business? Christina, castle burning. Can you tell me more about this question? Because I feel like there's a little bit of nuance in here that I can't pick up on just from that description. Let me see if I can pull anything from what you've already shared. Should I make them all separate businesses or make one business? I know we're all like super multi-passionate people who want to do. I find it if you're not at that sufficiency point, a lot of times you just need to like act on that unified will and just like decide this is the one offer, this is the one business that I'm going to show up in, and I'm going to either in my marketing show up with all of my multifacetedness, and through my offering I'm showing up as all my multifacetedness. But I mean, it just gets so much easier when you bring one offer to a point, or one business to a point where it's successful and sustainable, than it is to try and do a bunch of them all at the same time, because you can really focus your power into it. I'm just trying. Okay, Christina put in the chat. I make healing chocolates. I do psychedelic work and am an herbalist. I throw sober, curious events and want to do retreats. I mean, they seem like separate businesses, honestly. They seem like separate businesses. So they're probably separate businesses. I mean, the psychedelic work and herbalist work can probably go together, and mixing in the sober, curious stuff as like a marketing, a way to market your psychedelic work and herbalist work, like that would be epic. Like those three seem to work together. The healing chocolates, that just seems like a different business. And just in terms of, okay, I'm clearly not a lawyer, but like in terms of legal terms, like it's generally recommended that if you are planning on like really scaling big, you have your intellectual property in a separate business than your service-based business. Like as a digital marketing company, if I put out a course, like it's recommended to have that course and that intellectual property in a separate LLC, edible. Like you probably want that in a separate business than your other work, just because there are different legal ramifications of someone getting sick on your chocolates or someone getting sick on your psychedelic work and trying to sue you. Like that's just the realities. Let me know if that answers your question, Christina. So Ellie, or L, I am in the process of transitioning from one career field where I am known and hold expertise to a different career where I have significant personal experience but a limited public reputation. Is there a way to capitalize on my reputation and skills developed in my previous career as I build my new business? Absolutely. Yes, you can do that so well in your copywriting and in just like how you hold yourself. I'm someone who really believes in like belief. And like if you can really like all of my old work, all of my past career, everything is feeding into my power as in this new business, and all of that is relevant and useful knowledge to this. And I had a great reputation in that field, and you can bring that into this field, not in like a super like direct way, but just in like holding that energy of it, and also, I mean, holding yourself as someone who is known in their field. I've seen it happen to like countless business owners that they come, like they're a lawyer in one and they jump into a healer vocation, and their startup speed is really quick just because they consider themselves a successful person, a successful business person. So I know that's not a really specific answer, but I hope it's helpful. What sorts of business work well for this business model? I do direct-to-person healthcare, time heavy, and very much reliant on me doing the work. I'm a midwife. Okay, there we go. I'm not sure where team or automation would come in. So you're, okay, being a midwife, where you're a service provider and it's absolutely dependent on your thing. Where you're at now, like you're going to if you want to scale beyond just like your time, it's going to require you to build out different offers where a team would be involved. And like, maybe you always want to be a midwife, perfect, but like building out other offers in your business relevant to being a midwife is what's going to make it so all of this stuff is applicable to you. So you are a midwife and you get an epic reputation. You're able to charge very well for start training, having a special training program for the work that you do so other people can, whether that is, I mean, I don't know the certificate, I'm sure there's like a ton of certifications around being a midwife, but like training other midwives how to build up a successful business, or training other midwives how to do one special facet of what you do that makes it so that the mothers you're helping are super cared for and supported, or like do whatever. I would have to know more about you, but there are things where you can actually start teaching people, whether that's in a video course or in a book or in written trainings, to do things that you do. And that's building up that intellectual property in your business. It can also be doing consultative work versus the straight midwife work. So if you want to actually consult in the midwife work, but I mean, again, that's building services, but eventually you will be able to, I mean, if you want to scale it, you can bring other midwives on your team. And I mean, there's so much value in, if you can build a really strong business where it's really easy for you to get customers and suddenly you have a wait list for customers, you can bring other midwives on your team and you make a profit off of their work within your business because you're doing the hard work of building the business and marketing the business, and or like you're creating that container. It's not the hard work, because once you build it, it's built. I think that answers your question. Okay, I'm just double checking to see if there were any follow-ups from some of the people. Looking for Elle or Dawn. I'm not seeing any comments in here from Elle or Dawn. Okay. How does a solopreneur create teams that there's no investors? That's where like my big warning slide came in, Oceana, where I said, this is not really relevant for you if you're just in the startup phase. Because it's not like you need to be building up your business and getting more income. And if you're a service provider, that means getting really good at what you do so you can start commanding higher prices. So there's higher profit margin and doing value-based pricing versus hourly pricing. So I wouldn't create a team if you have a small business and you don't have the income to be able to pay a team. You need to start focusing on bringing in more money through your business. What's the number one shadow work issue you see in regards to money not being generated in a business? I think it's so personal. Say it's a shadow. Personally, I would say what has gotten me to higher and higher revenue within my own business is willingness to fail and willingness to get super uncomfortable, which I guess that is shadow work in and of itself. So doubling your prices, like if you have a certain price right now and doubling it and then having to go out and tell people that your doubled price is your price is excruciating. It's so painful, like so much like stuff is brought up around like, who am I? Like, how can I do that? What will they think of me? Like all of these things will be brought up. So I don't actually think it's a shadow work issue. I think it's like the willingness to go out and ask for more, to raise prices. Huge one. I see time and again, and it's so painful. So yeah, I think another shadow work issue, like a big block for people who are like, they get to a certain amount of success, but their success is completely dependent on their hourly work, or like they had to work so hard to get a certain number of clients or a certain number of customers or a certain level of income that they couldn't imagine doubling it. They couldn't imagine scaling their business because they worked so hard to get there. They can't imagine putting any more hours than they already did. So that's where, again, these externalized energies, like building these out, is so important, because suddenly it's taking away that pull from you so that it can actually scale out from there. I hope that makes sense. Okay, I'm in startup. How to work on copy, do, where to look. I mean, copywriting is pretty much, I don't have like what you're pretty much trying to do in copywriting is communicate with the people you want to talk. One, you need to be super duper clear on who you're talking to, like so specific on your offers, like so clear on what the end result is in your offers, and like so excited about your offers, and then just communicating that transformation to people. I know that's not like a really awesome thing. I'm not a copywriter. What to do, where to look. I mean, I would just look around and like find things that really excite you, like find posts that really excite you or pages that really excite you and look at what they're doing. Copy it and put it into your own words and make it into your own thing. And not to say that you'd ever post it, but like getting comfortable with the structures that actually turn you on. Because there's no, like, yeah, people can say there's like the 5 best tips about blah, 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 blah. But you really need to be looking at like what turns you on and what excites you in writing, and playing around with mimicking that structure or that wording in your own context. I'm obviously not recommending plagiarizing. I'm just saying, like, when you're actually learning to write copy, a lot of it is like looking at people who do it really well and just paying attention to what they're doing. It's a practice, it's a study. And what else came up in my mind about copywriting and learning to copyright? I mean, basic tips are, it's not about you. It's not about them. So that goes getting clear, super specific on the person you're helping, super specific on your offer and what they get out of it. So clear on what transformation you're providing and their desire, like the desired end result you're trying to get them. And then talking to them with a lot of yous. That's a little copywriting hack right there. You want to use like more like YOU, you, talking to you, like your work can be X, Y, and Z instead of my work and me and I. It's not about you, it's about them. Like, people don't care about you. I mean, they want to know like the bio, but like if you notice that sales pages are like never, like successful sales pages are never about the person who's actually selling. It's all about the transformation they're providing. So for IP, should we hire a trademark lawyer? Perhaps. I don't have much experience with trademark lawyers. I mean, if you want people to not sell it, there's some stuff on the internet that already exists that should pretty much cover most of your intellectual property, unless you're actually like trying to trademark a name, like Carolyn has trademarked existential kink. But like, I'm gonna have to look for it, but there's like different disclaimers that you can just put on your stuff that you can find on the internet that say, this is my own intellectual property and you can't steal it, period. Okay. So final question, okay. Now I'm realizing that these questions have bumped all around. I'm sweating, you guys. It's really hot in here. All of your attention is making me sweat. Follow up to Lacey's question, how do you grow under 100 and you don't have heaps of money for ad spend? Francesca, I would love to hear what your offering is. Maybe you've said it in the chat, because I know people who have had 300-person email lists that have made multiple 6 figures in a year. And once you like, you need to calculate how many people or how many sales you need to make for your offering. And then like, if it's 1,000 people because you have a low priced offering, then it's like, oh shit, I better get a bunch of followers. Or you need to figure out how to provide loads and loads of value and up your prices a lot so that you don't have to work with as many people. Okay, let's see if astrology and creative writing mentorship. Yes, Feb. So Francesca, like if you're doing one-off readings where you're trying to get people to buy a one-off session with you, like people on your list is going to be a hard thing just because it requires you to have a lot of people. That's where like putting together packages or higher end things where you can be working with people on a deep level. Like I've seen people who are like, you have an astrologer on a retainer so that you can plan out all of your launches as a business. I've seen that work really well. Okay, but let's go back to your original question. How do you grow an email list when it's under 100? You create an amazing lead magnet, some sort of freebie that is gated. So that could be a PDF or a video series or whatever that people have to put their email in to get access to. You've seen them all over the internet. People call them a bunch of different things. Lead magnet, opt-in freebie, opt-in gift, and then go put it different places. And there are a million different ways to grow. And good to you. So do you want to show consistently on Instagram? Do you want to show up consistently in Facebook groups? Do you want to write articles and post them on different websites where you can actually get your name out there? Do you want to be featured on other people's podcasts and share about your lead magnet on there? So those are some ways, but those are like just scratching the surface. I have so much confidence in you that you, like, if you really step into the idea that you already know what to do, and maybe this is a great question for the soul of your business. Where should I show up? Yeah. Okay. How do you give a super clear result on an esoteric offering and have it be true and guaranteed? When you're just getting started, honestly, like it's so hard to hear this, but common advice is you focus on the 3 areas that are the easiest to sell, which is health, wealth, and relationships. I know you're not going to like to hear this because people just want to talk about like going to the 5th dimension and whatever the esoteric thing. I don't know what yours is, but if you can create an offering and communicate the potential benefits in relation to health, wealth, or relationships, it's significantly easy to market. Obviously, you can do it other ways, but like, it's also nice to just go the easy route that's tried and true. Okay, so I'm not seeing any more questions in the questions and answers. So thank you all. Wow, this was so fun. Just some final things of if you want to, let me share my screen again. Do some like shameless, and there's my face, right in my face. Shameless self-promotion for our business is, so we have a small group program starting in March called the Alchemical Business Intensive. It is open for application now. Obviously, we're a digital marketing agency, but we work with companies that are already making over $250,000 per year or more, generally to the $2 million in annual revenue range. But if you're under that, love to invite you to the Alchemical Business Intensive. We're taking only 10 people this round. It's a 13-week group program for building a scalable foundation of externalized energies so you can grow without the hustle or wanting to put your articles of incorporation through the paper shred. The website is thedirtyalchemy.com/ABI. I will put it in the chat. And feel free to get in touch there. We're also Instagram.com/thedirtyalchemy. I'm the one in the DMs, so you can DM me directly there. That tends to be easier than email because I get triggered by my email inbox. Is this group for those making 200,000 already? No, this is for under. So this is about building that foundations of business. You do have to have an established business. It's not for someone who's just starting out in business and doesn't know what their offers is. Like, there are other courses for that. This is definitely for someone who wants to actually build that business foundation. And as I said, in the startup phase, you need to focus on learning how to sell, which is not our focus here. We're going to be focusing on building a soul aligned offer and building the launch and building dirtyalchemy.com/ABI. Send me questions on Instagram, and I think it's awesome. Love it. Okay, thank you all. I really appreciate it. I hope this was super useful and interesting and intriguing and all of the things. And you can find me in Wealth. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on my website. And yeah, I'll post the PDF of here, I can stop sharing. I'll post the PDF of the slides in Wealth, and we'll send it out in the replay so you guys can review. And yeah, aloha everyone.